Hi everyone, my name is Manahil. I am the community manager of Sama Health, and I'm having this conversation with Misha Akbar, the founder of Sama Health. We're going to be uncovering the achievements, the journey, and what's next for Sama Health. I'm so happy that we're finally doing this.
Agreed.
So we're going to be talking about lots of things today, but the reason why we're doing this podcast today is about Sama Health. Sama Health is an initiative, a brand, a mission that Misha has been working on so hard for the past 2 years, for the past 3 years maybe. But within my journey, I've been with her for about 1.5 years. And I have seen so much happen. And I'm so glad that we finally get to share this conversation with everyone. So before I start talking about Sama Health, I would love to introduce Misha, who is the founder of Sama Health, the founder of this great vision. And I would love for her to share a little bit about why she cares so deeply about mental health to create something like Sama Health, and what mental health is for you in this journey.
Gosh, that's such a heavy question to start this podcast. But I think it really goes back to wanting to leave a legacy. I mean, if you ask me, explain it in one sentence. I want to leave a legacy behind, and I want to have I want to leave behind some sort of impact that my kids and my grandkids and everyone else around them can kind of look back on. But even more deeply than that, I want to be able to help
Yeah.
people. And this is something that's, I think, if I look back at my like childhood, right? And I don't know if it's because you're like an empath, when things like really affect you to the point of, man, I want to make things better for this person, because
Yeah.
making something better for the other person, it almost gives me the sense of purpose.
Yeah.
It's like my life means something.
Yeah.
I've been put here to do something that's good. And so that's really why I started Sama Health. That's part of the, wanting to do something, leaving an impact. But it's also because with my own journey with mental health. I grew up in Dubai. I'm a Dubai kid, in and out. I don't live here anymore though, but I keep coming back, as
Of course.
you have noticed.
Of course. I mean, that's how we're here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I went through a major mental health breakdown when I was in high school. And, in typical Desi family fashion, we swept it under the rug, never to look at or
Yeah.
address. And I think that I carried that into my adult life.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that for anyone else, because I know how hard that is. I
Yeah.
know that space you're in where you feel literal heaviness on your chest, and
Yeah.
there's nobody around to lift that for you.
Yeah.
So Sama Health was really born out of that as well, the want to help people, but also understanding that I'm not helping them just because I want to help them.
Yeah.
I want to help them because I have felt that pain
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very nicely put. I could feel every word of that because, I mean, of course, Sama Health is for South Asians. And as a fellow South Asian, I could relate to so much of that. And I think that's what struck me when we first connected anyway. Your vision was unlike any other. I mean, I'm a marketer, yes, but any other brand, any other nonprofit even, because it's so deeply connected to your personal life, and it's so difficult because
Yeah.
it isn't a one fixed solution. It's not you found a problem and you're trying to solve it with
Yep.
a product or service. It's a mind game. It's a mind shift for a lot of the community members here in Dubai. And specifically, since you and me both are Dubai kids, we understand that Dubai has changed over time. And the South Asian population being the highest in the country, it often, I mean, although has the majority, goes unnoticed as well when it comes to
Yeah.
these things. And it's very, I mean, I think it's very worthy to speak of, to address that majority
Yeah.
in such a thoughtful way, that this is something that you shouldn't have to ignore.
Right.
So for me, whenever I hear you talk about Sama Health, and in our countless conversations, not even in these, like in a podcast particularly, I always find this joy that I'm part of something that I can't even believe that someone would come up with, it's like when you're like in high school and you're like, what if someone made something like this for us?
Yeah.
And then you're like, I was in my adulthood and I was like, oh my God, this person's actually doing this. Like,
Yeah.
this is real. They actually care about this. So for me, it really touched me. And I am so happy to say that since the day I met you till now, your passion and your determination, it has only increased with the number of challenges and achievements, but of course, challenges that come with any business. You have only grown stronger as a founder, as an advocate, as a community member, because we'll get into all the things we've done with Summer Health, but you've only gotten stronger, and for me that speaks volumes for the brand as well. So tell me where Summer Health is today. We obviously know that it's been a while now and you've done a lot of things with it, but tell me where it is today and what you feel for Summer Health as it is as of now.
Yeah.
As a founder, as an advocate.
Great question. If you have the answer to that, let me know. Because it is, see, if I look back on my experience, right? I worked in human resources for about 16 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of my experience was focused on startups, C-suite founders, and employee engagement, well-being, motivation. And most of those 16 years were in the US, where the concept of mental health is very different from how it is in the UAE. And I think like the UAE has done tremendous things, and I'm always in awe of how much it has done and how fast it's doing that. Because every time I come, I see that difference. Like I can actually feel it. Yeah. So when I started Summer Health, when we launched in the UAE, we didn't really have much.
Yeah.
I did not know where to start or who to speak to. Yeah. All I had was an app, and I'm not even a technical person. So and I think this was even before I think even before ChatGPT was really a thing.
That's true.
And so I had to do things old school, like Google searches and talking to a lot of other founders and looking for other mental health startups and seeing like what are they doing and how are they doing things and what has been the feedback and the reactions to it. But, the nuance that we had was we were catering to almost like a super niche, right? So it's not generalized. It's specifically for South Asians. It's specifically for South Asians in the Middle East. And I've always had people ask me, like, why can't you just open it up to the world?
Definitely.
Because there are South Asians everywhere. And I'm like, because expat mental health is very different from immigrant mental health, is very different from, people who are local to a community, And so being like having grown here, I've seen that gap. When I struggle to find somebody, and then when I moved to the US, I struggled to find someone who understood my culture and all of those things. So we started off as just an app. LinkedIn was my best friend. I may have stalked a lot of people, still do, but so we had the app, and then I think I tried to do Instagram, but I was terrible at it. And I kind of just let it grow organically. I didn't want to try too hard because I was genuinely, and even to this day, and this might, I don't know, this might like give investors like, okay, I'm not going to invest in her. But it really did not, and it's still not, it's not a money-making thing for me. It truly, truly is. It really comes from a good place of wanting to help people. So the initial 6-7 months, we really just focused on organic marketing, talking to people. And so, from there, we kind of started growing slowly. Our followers grew. I remember being so happy when I got my first client and then realizing the payment didn't go through because you have to tell developers exactly what you want. And so there was a lot of like stumbling blocks. But today, we've done over 100 sessions. I still get like goosebumps when I think about it. And, we've got some partnerships in play. So we are growing, and
Yeah.
it tells me that there is a need, which I always knew.
Yeah.
But I think what it kind of reiterates is it really is a mindset shift.
Yeah.
You can keep talking about mental health. You can do every awareness campaign. You can
Yeah.
make it fun. You can make it serious. You can make it quirky.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that mindset shift needs to come from
Yeah.
you,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
That is I think the main thing that I have seen, or I have seen way too often, as someone who is an advocate for mental health and speaks very vocally about it. But then obviously I'm sure you would have had responses from people too that, you know, they understand it,
Yeah.
but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to take the action. And that, when you came with Summer Health, I think that was where I was like, oh, someone is actually thinking about this part where we're gonna do something about these things, you know? Because obviously when we talk about South Asian problems, we're talking about a lot of the problems that we normalize in our community. Oh, you have this problem? That's normal. My mom also had it. My sister also had it. Like,
Yep.
my best friend is going through this. This is what happens in marriage. This is what happens when you have a baby.
Yeah.
It's because the narrative is such.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, you know, instruction from a like a professional who can validate that these are challenges, like mental health challenges, not just culturally bound challenges, or just hardships of life, you know, we as a culture tend to invalidate and really desensitize ourselves to a lot of the hardships that they may go through. So talk to me about how, basically, when you were building Sama Health, and the key people that you saw that you wanted to help, and what was the challenge from their perspective when it came to accessing mental health.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people have the awareness, but they're unable to take the action.
Yeah.
And obviously, being part of it, we have done a little bit of like research here and there and surveys, and understood that there are some key factors that account to them not being able to take action. But the biggest factor, like you mentioned already, mindset. What is the mindset shift that needs to happen for South Asians to be empowered enough to believe that they can take action?
I think it's a personality trait that we all have. It took me 10 years to start therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I had the resources, especially when I moved to the US, right? But for me, it was like, again, it was not access as such, but it was finding the right therapist who understood me when I would say like stuff like, oh, I wasn't really allowed to like hang out with boys in school.
Yeah.
You know, like small things which we've normalized so much.
Exactly. And also, I guess there's a little bit of embarrassment that comes with these things as well, that I don't want to say that I was not able to do this.
Like, now it makes it real.
Yeah, by saying it. But you know, I mean, it's owning your limitations as well, which took a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it also, I remember like when I actually booked my first session, I was like so scared because everything that I was told was normal. Everything that I was told, like, this is life. It's hard. Like, don't be so weak. I had to kind of unlearn all of those things, and it really is hard. You know, I started, I stopped, I started, I stopped, and then I think it's when I truly unlearned everything that I needed to do, and just literally have that conversation with myself of, this is a long thing. Like, you need to stick with this particular therapist. Like, give yourself 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like going to the gym, right? You're like, oh man, I'm going to go to the gym today. I don't want to go, but I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And that's really how I approached going to therapy. Like, I'm going to give it 6 months. Whether I feel like a session did not help, or whether I felt like I didn't make any progress, I'm still going to give it 6 months.
Yeah.
And when I went through that, at the end of that 6-month period, it's not that I noticed things, but people around me noticed things.
Yeah.
You know, my partner noticed things, my kids noticed things. And then I slowly started noticing things like, man, I haven't had like one of those dark cycles in a while now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not letting things bother me as much because I know my triggers now.
Yeah.
I know how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
I know how to communicate.
Yeah.
in a way that doesn't, lead into this me feeling guilty. I don't people please as much.
Yeah.
I still do, but I don't do it as much.
Yeah.
And that's all because of therapy.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to explain that to people.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting your own demons,
Yeah.
and sometimes those demons are really, really strong.
Yeah.
So you can have all the access, you can have all the resources, you can have all the education.
Yeah.
And I think where it really helps is having someone who's gone through that journey tell you that it's okay and you're there and like sit with them. I think that is what made the biggest difference, because I realized I was not alone. For the longest time, I thought I was the only one who was having these kind of issues. And I'm the only one with these struggles because, man, like not being able to hang out with boys or what, I can't wear what I want, or man, I need to score a certain, grade in my exams, or I'm going to be a failure. And then, I'm not going to get a job, and then I'm not going to find anyone to marry me. Like all those things are so normalized. And it all comes from a good place.
Yeah,
right? It all comes from a good place. It's not like people are actively trying to bring you down. But to be able to face those demons and unlearn those things and then be like, man, I'm going to do this. And I always use this gym metaphor because when I tried to go to the gym, I remember someone telling me like, you don't need to go to the gym. One. Second, it's not going to help you. Or you're going to get these weird muscles and you're not going to look good. So for the longest time, I wouldn't, even though I knew I wanted to work out, I wouldn't go. Because I had these like voices, not just in my head, but like it got validated, right? You get that validation when someone else says things that you only think about in your head. And so then I had to be like, no, I'm going to go anyway. So therapy is a lot like that. People will tell you it's not going to help you. Why do you want to pay to just get someone talking to you?
Why don't you talk to
your
a friend?
uncle or aunt or a friend?
I heard another one that I've heard is why do you want to make it such a big deal? Like why do you want to share your story and like publicize what you're going through? People will think of you differently. And unfortunately, that's where the stigma arises as well, where if not in the right setting, if you say that you're in therapy, it's not necessary that people look at you the same way. And
no,
it's there. That's there very much.
I've got the awkward smiles. I've got the distraction by offering me chai. But I've realized, and again, a lot of my people pleasing came into that as well. Like I hid it for the longest time. I remember telling my mom I was in therapy, and I remember her reaction. Like she's like, "What? Why? Like, haven't we done enough for you? Like, what do you have to be depressed about? Like you have a loving husband, you have healthy kids, you have a great house, and then the line, you're living in the US. This is like everybody's dream." And I'm like, you can have everything in life, and you can still be depressed. And that's what I guess that's again something that makes people feel so guilty. And then you start the whole blaming, like, I'm not grateful enough.
Exactly.
Right? And so it's really, again, it's all a mindset shift. And I also think in our culture, we celebrate pain.
We do. And it's generational. I mean, considering we were colonized and this and that, the whole idea of martyrs and a whole idea of sacrificing for others, it comes from a history of pain and loss, which is true, which we cannot negate. And that's why understanding that there's no blame to what we go through when we talk about therapy. And I think the other aspect that I want to touch on is also when we glamorize therapy of like, if you go to therapy, your life will change. That's not, it's to understand your patterns at the very base level. Is to understand and then perhaps help. But even to understand, you have to give it the time. And that goes into anything you do in life, right? If you don't give it time, how will you see change?
We're also in an era of instant gratification. So I think for our kids, telling them that things take time, or even for us now, I mean, if I look at life, I don't know, like 17, 18 years ago, and you send an email, You're like, okay, that person's going to like
Yeah.
respond when they get time or whatever. And now you have those email tracking software. So you know when someone's opened it, you know when someone's read it,
Yeah.
you know how long they've
Yeah.
read it. And it's like that instant result, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like thinking, why hasn't this person responded yet?
Yeah.
So we don't have the patience anymore.
Yeah.
And therapy is not instant.
Yeah, exactly. That's something hard for people to digest because I mean, obviously when as you were talking, I was thinking about all the community sessions that we've had
Yeah.
where we've actually seen firsthand, people from coming to I have a problem to
Yeah.
going to I want to book a session.
Yeah.
We've seen that countless times, and that is
Yeah.
something I'm very proud of. I mean, of course, that builds because I see that people know about it and then
Yeah.
they take their time to actually come to the conclusion themselves that they want to do it.
Yeah.
Because the community is not built in a way that imposes anything. It's more of a space where like-minded individuals come, and it's a space where we can talk about our mental health.
Yeah. And what I like about our community is that it's so deeply personal.
Yeah.
Right? You don't feel like, oh, this is just some group with like
Yeah.
thousands of people
Yeah.
and I'm not seen and I'm just kind
Yeah.
of, but I love how close knit all of
Yeah.
us are. And I love how safe people feel.
Absolutely. We've seen that happen. And I think those are the moments that really validate what Sama Health does because that's real reality because we don't know what happens with people who end up, taking these sessions. That's completely their journey. We don't know how they feel after that. But when we see the community grow where people, invite another person into the community because, they've helped me find the courage to take this step for myself. So why don't you come here? And sometimes that's all we need, right? Because it's not always about the access or the tool that I need. It's that supportive voice to sort of lead you in that direction.
Yeah.
A therapist cannot tell you to do therapy,
Right, exactly.
That's just doesn't work that way. But a supportive friend or community member can. And building that community has been one of the biggest achievements for Sama Health. And also, as we were discussing before, when we were talking about therapy being something that doesn't fix your problems, when we as advocates or as people who've gone through it talk about it, it's not to fix what you're going through. It's to understand and to become gentle with yourself, which is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow because sometimes, and we would have seen this, a lot of people would message you or me, I have this problem. What can I do?
Yeah.
Right?
It's very
How many
common.
times?
Yeah.
And we kind of dumbfounded, right? Because we're like, we can't tell you to, do this. You have to be in a mental state where you're ready for this because it's addressing it. It's kind of, like you said, facing your demons. Sometimes you're not courageous enough. Sometimes you're not feeling brave enough. Maybe you're going through some other practically life-changing circumstances which need addressing first. And that's kind of where the community came in. That as a first point of, you're not sure? Join us, let's talk.
I mean, so that's the other thing, right? Growing up, we were told what to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other thing, yeah.
We were told that. You want this, you have to do this. And we always had someone to look up to, whether it was organically done or not. Those relationships were kind of dictated to us very early on.
Yeah.
So we were always told what to do.
Yeah.
And so when we are adults, we struggle with not having that safe person or not having that, I'm struggling with this. What do I do?
Yeah.
So that's why even when you go to therapy, even with me, that's what I struggle with. I'm like, I just need you to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will do it. And then my problem will go away. That did not work. Right? Because it's, you learn to, the first part is acknowledging it, obviously.
Yeah.
Understanding what does it mean when you say sit with it or create space. That's such a new thing for Desi people.
Yeah, I know.
Because we don't know that.
We don't know
I didn't know that.
I didn't. I absolutely didn't.
It's only now. I'm realizing.
I actually feel like therapy is what made me realize that I have this need to know.
Yeah.
How should I fix this? There's a problem. I should fix this.
Yeah.
Emotions are not like that.
Exactly.
You can't fix emotions. You're feeling this way. You're feeling this way.
And then you learn to manage that because that situation doesn't trigger you as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because you know you learn to understand the
Yeah.
science. And for me, I'm always interested in how the brain works as
Yeah,
well,
that of course that's a
right?
huge part of it.
Like it's sometimes not just because of a problem.
Yeah.
It can be a chemical imbalance in your brain. So what do you do when it comes to that, and how do you manage that with therapy and like other modalities, right? And again, it's explaining that to parents and relatives, like whoever asks, right?
Yeah.
But I've noticed that now, because I've started Summer Health, even within my own family, the conversations are more open.
Yeah.
And that's something I never
Absolutely.
thought would happen.
Absolutely.
Like,
It's happened with me
never,
too.
ever. Okay. This is like, man, like I wish I had done this
Yeah.
before. Um, and sometimes that in itself is like, wow, like
Yeah.
someone acknowledges that I struggled.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, having worked with a lot of startups and being very focused on employee engagement and being a mental health advocate, I think one of the biggest shifts or one of the biggest impact that I've seen that really changes that organizational culture and really brings out that psychological safety really comes down to hiring. That's where that's your magic recipe, right? Because anybody can learn how to do a job, but soft skills like empathy, learning to lead, being vulnerable, all of those things um, are really tied to your personality. You can fake it. You can absolutely do that because you have like your personal life and then you have your professional life. You bring your work personality is different from your home personality. But what it really boils down to, especially when you're hiring people in leadership positions or people manager positions, is understanding how they are able to truly listen to their employees and being vulnerable and also not being afraid to take on the struggles of their employees. Like if someone comes and says, "Man, I had a shitty week," right? And I've had these experiences like firsthand, right? Where I remember I remember after I had my son, I was going through postpartum depression. My office space did not have like a mother's room. And this was a very, in the US, but it was a very South Asian focused like company. And I remember I was given like my office room to pump. And I remember putting like a notice on the door saying, "Do not disturb." And my manager started knocking on the door as I was pumping. And I'm like, "I'm a bit busy." And he slipped in some meeting notes. And he's like, "Okay, can you just take a look at this and let me know?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to take like an hour." And he actually said, "Can you hurry up because I have the client on the line?" And I was just under so much of stress, right? Like I'm trying to pump, I'm trying to like deal with work, I'm dealing with people like knocking on the door. And I was like, this is like exhausting. And this was very early on in my HR career. And I remember like after I, pumped and everything, I go into his room and I'm like, "I'm so sorry, but I was like pumping." And the reaction I got was so awkward. Like he turned red and he's like, maybe you can like figure out like some other time to like, I'm like, I can't. Ow. I can't. I'm sorry, So that kind of really, like in my next role, I was very, very lucky to have leaders that were super vulnerable. And when they don't ask questions for the heck of asking questions, right? They'll be like, "How are you feeling? I know work has been really stressful because we've had to meet certain deliverables and it's been, we've asked you to work late. What can we do?" And really being heard. When one of them said, I wish I could get like just a day off. That's not taken out of my PTO because I'm saving up for like a vacation. And my boss said, "Well, why don't you take the day off tomorrow? Business will still go on," right? And so something like my manager also told me is you have to share information. You have to not gatekeep things, because tomorrow, if you get run over by a bus, the business should still continue. So, with that thought in mind, we were always very open about sharing information. There was no gatekeeping. And our performance management process was really focused on, like, it was not just your deliverables, it's how did you do it? Yeah. How were your relationships? Do people talk about just your achievements, or but do they talk about what an awesome colleague you are? And those things really started like making a lot of sense to me. So I think that's what organizations, especially in countries like the UAE, where there's so much of diversity, you're not just dealing with work colleagues, you're dealing with work colleagues who have different experiences than yours, that has shaped the way they interact with you, that has shaped the way they deal with things, that has shaped the way they deal with stress and everything else. So it all comes down to hiring. It all comes down to listening to your employees, like truly listening, right? And not being dismissive about things. I've heard comments like, even in my summer health journey, as I'm reaching out to organizations, I've heard things like, oh, our employees are really happy. And I have had conversations with these employees, right? And I get a completely different picture because there's no psychological safety. They're like, dude, what? Like, I've actually heard someone say that if I struggle at work, there's like 10 other people who are ready to take my job. I'm not going to show that I'm struggling at work. I'm not going to say that I'm pregnant just before a promotion cycle is happening. I'm not going to do any of these things. And I've had like a very different experience, like living in the US, right? Where I had a boss who got pregnant 3 months after she was hired, and we managed it. We managed it, right? And so these are things that truly matter to employees, because if you want employees to stay, if you truly want them to bring in their best work, you have to start listening to them, because it's going to be more expensive to keep hiring people.
It's true.
Right?
It's
there's like a lot of stuff, and this is like my this is like my candy land, right? Because there's so much I want to do and say.
For sure.
And that's really how Summer Health is like. When we approach organizations, right? It's like, this is like an add-on service. This is something that's complementary to everything else that you're offering. Because this is really giving employees like a safe space to discuss their struggles and help them manage stress, but in a way that's more long-term. Right? Because we are not like insurance, or we are not like an EAP program that's just tied to the organization. We are with the employees even after they leave the company.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that is really what our USP is. In addition to being, of course, culturally relevant.
And that's really powerful, because as someone who has worked in Dubai, I've encountered these similar situations happen countless times, where unfortunately what I see as a problem is that people who are decision makers in these organizations should have a certain sense of wanting, focusing on their own well-being first, in order to be able to do the same for their organizations. If they themselves are not, is very difficult for them to understand the value of it on an organizational level. And that's why we say that the individual mindset shift is parallel to the organizational structure. Because if you don't value it, how can you implement that? You rather just implement some sort of, cookie cutter.
I mean, it goes down to when a company is talking about their vision, mission, values. Each of those values, if you look at it, is tied to mental health. Right? Even if it says we believe in our customers, that doesn't mean that you're going to work 24 hours to like make sure you get those deliverables out. It talks about how you have to first, wear your oxygen mask before you go out there and help everyone else. So I think what the shift that needs to happen is companies need to make it more real.
Yeah.
And the only way to make it more real is tying all of these into your mission, into your
Yeah.
vision. I mean, really into your values, because the values are those things that you live day in and day out.
Yeah.
And that's really what is going to help build your culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like your personal family dynamics,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you see how different families are and how
Yeah.
their unit is, but it's all because
Yeah.
it's their experiences and how they react to things that builds out that personality. So it's very similar to like an organizational
Yeah.
culture as
Of
well,
course,
right?
of course.
That's the difference between a toxic workplace and a workplace that really values
Yeah.
employees and provides that psychological safety.
Yeah. Ah, that was really nice to hear. Okay. We're kind of reaching the end of our conversation, and I think what I'd love to end on is to see what you have either received as feedback or have experienced over the time with Summer Health, building Summer Health, some of the key achievements or some of the moments that really made you proud. Because I think that's where the juice is at.
Yeah, I'm also, so I get this question a lot. Okay, like what are you like super proud of and everything? And I think the things that I'm really proud of are not really the things that make it as part of our PR. They're the really quiet stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. This
You
is a
know,
safe space,
right? Like just getting that note from
Yeah,
a client saying that I'm so happy that you did this because I was able to find a therapist that was not only accessible, like, like they just in terms of their qualifications, experience, expertise, whatever, but I can afford this person.
yes, super
I'm so
important.
glad that you did this.
Yeah,
I'm so glad there is like so many therapists that I can choose from.
yeah,
I'm so glad someone understands me.
yeah,
But like the other things that I'm really proud of is like, I did not think it was possible that I could do something like this.
yeah,
I was going to just do this very quietly. Like when I was testing out Sama Health in the beginning, the way I did it was I would just go on LinkedIn.
yeah,
I would find licensed therapists.
yeah,
I created this Google sheet, which I
Yeah.
still have to this day.
yeah,
And I would put in their qualifications, I would put in their email address if it was available. And when someone would ask me, like, do you know, like, if, because I became an advocate once I saw how much therapy helped me, I would just like forward that list to people. And I was happy
yeah.
because I was giving them a list of licensed therapists.
There we go. Yeah,
But what I would receive back was like, oh, do you know which one of these therapists are good? Have you spoken to them? Do you know how much
Yeah.
they charge? Do they give like a free consultation?
yeah,
And I was like, oh, I need to do more.
yeah, yeah.
I need to build I need to build something. Right. And so that's what I'm like really proud of.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the partnerships that we've done. It's not like, of course, I'm like truly grateful for that, of course. I'm not dismissing it or diminishing it in any way. But to this till date, when I think about what am I like so proud of, it's like actually building the platform.
Yeah.
We've, like I said, we've done over 100 sessions. We have some amazing therapists. Our community, 400 people, like,
Yeah.
this is like,
yeah.
honest to God, we had like 10 people in the beginning, and I think one of them was my mom. And maybe like a cousin or maybe some friends. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And to see that where we've come, and to have people reach out and saying that, hey, do you want to collaborate, or do you want to do this, do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I always try to go back to the root of why I'm doing it. It's not for the accolades, right? It's really because for those messages.
Yeah, it is.
It's
amazing.
truth be told, it's for those messages. When someone tells me this has helped me, I'm like, so even if I end up with just like, I don't know, 10 people for the rest of Sama Health's journey, but those 10 people are grateful in the sense that they've been able to move on and get the help that they need, my work is done. Like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. It's so powerful when you say that, especially the community building aspect,
Yeah.
because we've seen that together
Yep.
grow and become more vulnerable over time. It's one thing to have a community, but to actually see people get softer, become your advocates. And even as a marketer, I'm not about the followers, I'm about the advocates.
Yeah.
Within our followers, as organically as we've reached, we have advocates.
And
we
it's
have
how
that.
engaging the group
Yeah,
is.
it's great. It's always so insightful, and also the journey with our community has always been learning. At the end of the day, we learn so much about what we can do better because we've got so much insight about what we can do for them beyond this. I mean, a lot of the stuff just through surveys we've understood, the key challenges why people are not able to access therapy. Therefore, we were able to have a variance in pricing, sometimes even languages, things that can make it more accessible, and obviously it's a learning journey. But we get that through real people with real problems, and it's super exciting, like you said, to build something like that.
And that's the other thing I'm really proud of, right? It's not fluff.
Yeah.
It's just peeling off all the layers, because at the end of the day, we are connecting you to a human who can understand your pain and who can help you navigate through it.
Yeah.
It's not the, AI stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the, I don't know, like, it's not the superficial stuff.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just want to speak to a human.
Yeah.
A non-judgmental human.
Yeah.
And that's really at the core of what Sama Health is offering.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever move away from that. I think that's...
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so much
Of course.
for doing this. This was wonderful.
This was amazing.
And more importantly, I mean, as we're doing this podcast, I'm like, my memories are being flooded with, our first conversation to building, our social media, getting...
The stoic Manahil is like, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, so I have this dream.
To influencer collaborations, to webinars, to in-person meets, to so many sessions, so many wellness sessions, so many vulnerable moments with our community. It really fills me with joy that I was a part of this, and I don't think I can leave
That's like a AC thing again, this whole, because now when you're saying all this, I'm like, wow, did we do all that?
Yeah, I'm helping you acknowledge it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year, right? It's just been a year.
It's just a year. I know. Within a year, that's a lot.
It's 13 months to be exact.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Desis are very bad at humble brags.
Yeah, so let me take up the space and kind of brag about Sama Health, because I've listened to you, but I as a as an observer of your dream play out and supporting you with that on a very in-depth level.
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast was something that I really wanted you to do because of this, to acknowledge what you're doing. Because as founders, as entrepreneurs as well, when we're on that path, and I've seen that multiple times with clients, we forget why we started and we forget to acknowledge what we're doing.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what this conversation really highlights, that you're already on the path. You are seeing the successes that truly matter to you, because at the end of the day, you're the one behind it, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much ahead, because we're working on some stuff, and we're excited. And hopefully through this podcast, we reach more people to follow us, to find out what we do, to download the app and check for yourselves, and to always just message us if you feel like you want to share your feedback or you want to share your story, because the community is really built on people's stories. And believe it or not, we respond to everyone.
Yeah,
literally.
We do. We literally do.
There are no bots. We respond to everyone. There's real humans at the end of those socials. Everybody that comes to us just asking for something that maybe we can't even help with, we'll always be listening. So it is truly that place, and I'm so happy to be part of it. And
me too. Thank you so much for this. I'm so proud of you and for doing it like a pro, man. Like, you're amazing.
Thank you. So if you enjoyed this conversation, please follow us on Sama_health and find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Our community meets are available on Meetup, the app. Join the community, find like-minded individuals who care about mental health and are advocates for this mission.